Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another stream. Let's get into it. What's going on? Alright, so today, thought we farm a little bit of Nullgath stuff for the Nullgath class that finally got confirmed. The date that's coming out is Friday. Ooh, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. That always gets me. YouTube unpauses itself when the stream goes live. So I guess if you have the tab open in the background and you're waiting for the stream to start, then it'll start it for you there. So, gameplay. What you know about gameplay? So, Nullgath stuff. The requirements that were leaked, they weren't leaked by myself. They were leaked by someone on the Reddits, I think. If I bring those up right here, there we go. So these requirements, false. They've been confirmed as not the actual requirements. So but you could use these as a semi-guideline, right? Like if you get most of the stuff, you should be close to what you need to get, right? And they've confirmed that there's new items that you need for the class also, that will be out when the class is actually out, which is not today. And Elena is also talking about maybe having a testing version available for members like they have done for the past 2 classes they released. So if there's a testing version of the class, that'll be good. That'll be good. I'm doing really good. Thanks for asking. All right, let's get the music back on. Link for the playlist of the music's in the description if you guys want to listen to the music whenever. All right, so there are a few items that were confirmed though. Unidentified 13s and diamonds are the only 2 confirmed items that we need so far. So we'll farm diamonds, I guess, today. How many unidentified 13s can you have? Could someone in chat tell me how many unidentified 13s we can have? Because I have... Where's my unidentified 13s? Are they in my bank? Oh, they shouldn't be. Unidentified 24 voucher. Do I not have 13s? Must be in my bank. They're probably in my bank. Early stream? I shouldn't be an early stream. 2:52. It's not early. I can barely hear you. Well, let me listen back to my stream. 4 voucher. Do I not have 13s? I sound fine on the stream, my dude. 3 is the max you can have? Alright, well I do have 3, but I think they're in my bank. So you would be at the bottom. Undead? No, so they're not in my bank. Hey, thanks for following me on Twitch. Japanese letters? Maybe Chinese. Or Mandarin. No, they're not in my bank. Maybe I'm blind. They're in my inventory, right? Be an AC item. Maybe not. Am I tripping? Did I delete them? It's nearly midnight in Germany. Yeah, I'm not a very EU or other side of the world friendly streamer. My apologies. You have 3 in your inventory. Alright, I'm just blind. That's good to know. It's good to know. You can glitch it, put it in your bank. Yeah, I know, you can glitch them. But if it requires more than 3 unidentified 13s, then they're basically like saying like, hey, if you didn't glitch, you're at a disadvantage. So I doubt they'll make it more than 3. It'll probably be exactly 3 requirements. Will probably be exactly 3 unidentified 13s would be my guess, if I had to guess. So we have the unidentified 13s, so we don't need any more of those. But diamonds are the other confirmed item, and I'm pretty sure diamonds are at /join. What's the map? Hello, welcome to stream. Welcome to stream, everyone. Evil War. 7 a.m. in the Philippines. Nice. Okay, that's a good time to start streaming then for the Philippines. So quests. Yeah, 3 diamonds. Is this music a little bit too loud? I feel like the music's a little bit too loud. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Dreadrock. Does Dreadrock, can you get diamonds in Dreadrock? I feel like we go, oh, why did I put, my keyboard double types sometimes. It's weird. I think the keys are just super sensitive on it, so double types. Quests. Dreadrock, gem exchange, diamonds. Okay. Okay, and we can get tans and all that other stuff here too. So this isn't really a farming class, so let's put on an actual farming class. Oh wait, let's go to private Dreadrock too. It looks like there's only 2 people in that farming room. Wonder if everyone's in 1-3-3-7 yet. Oh, we already got a player there. Yeah, nice, nice. They probably heard that I was going to a private one. They're like, ah, he's gonna go 13-37. Good stuff. All right, so if they do a testing version, I'm gonna I'll make a video like similar to the last Lightcaster video when they did the test for Lightcaster. If they put out a testing version anytime this week, I'm gonna wake up early every day, make sure I can be on that stuff. Nightbot should be in chat today also. If he's not, he should be. I don't know if someone can like try a command for Nightbot, see if he's there. Don't you have the Astral Orb pet? No, I don't have an Astral Orb pet. But they are releasing a new Nullgath farming pet. I also want to show that on stream. And it looks like we have a picture of it. It's not a confirmed picture, but if we go to Elena's Twitter, show it on stream here. Farming and looking at Twitter at the same time. That's how we do it. So if we look on the Twitter, this picture. So the sword right here could be the farming pet, because look, it's a pet kind of sword, right? I mean, it could just be an AC item that you buy in the rare shop, but that'd be a cool looking farming pet. That would definitely be a cool farming pet. Woo, that AQ lag. Farm for Legion Doom Knight class, Corey? I already have Legion Doom Knight class. A 5-hour stream? We'll be streaming for a while. Oh, crystal shards. So I want to make sure I have enough of the requirements. What's the best way to get unidentified 13th? I think it would be the Nullgath larvae pet, right? For unidentified 13s, if he drops them. I got mine from Craig and Bamboozle. But yeah, the female, yeah, that's right. The female version looks like anorexia, like anorexic. Yeah, that's the word, I think. Very, yeah, like the female version should be at least as big as the male version. Like your character looks like yeah, like she's got a eating problem. Gem exchange is good for unidentified 13s? Yes. Plasma light, Jesus.
I love you, Corey. Less than 3. This is all that's left from my allowance. Everyone type plasma light is sexy in the chat. D.
Plasma light is sexy in the chat. Type that, guys. Thank you, Plasma. God. My donations. I forgot how creepy that voice was. Jesus. Jesus. No, we don't want treasure chests. Oh, done the quest again. Check Twitter DMs. I'll check them in a little bit. Alright, let's look up. Plasma sexy. Jump scared as fuck. Yeah, it scared the hell out of me. Forgot how loud that was. I thought it was too quiet before, so I turned it up, and I think I turned it up too much. Oof. Oof. Hey, Ocean. I really hope the class is good when it comes out, though. I wonder what kind of class. I wish it would give us, like, because it's Monday, right? Yeah, so it's Monday. So it's only 4 days till the class comes out, and 4 days is not a lot of time. They should let us know how, well, like, the requirements for the class. Like, give us the 4-day head start. Like, I'm sure for some people it's gonna take them more than 4 days to get all the items for it. Will Nulgath farming pet cost ACs? Most likely. Farming pets normally do cost ACs. Would I rather get the class or the resource farming pet? Resource farming pet, all the way. If it's good. If the class, well, if the resource farming pet was bad, then I would go with the class. But if it's a good resource farming pet, then yes. Definitely, that's way more valuable than having the class. So you can use any different class. Like, you don't, unless the class is like a god tier, like 100k critical guaranteed, something like that class, then maybe I'd go with the class. But if I had to pick one of the two, I would go with the farming pet, because I feel like that'll be more valuable for a longer period of time than a class. Like, new classes come out all the time. We don't get new Nulgath farming pets all the time. Are the rares coming today? No, they're on Friday. 6 vouchers on Nulgath? I don't think so. Isn't the They might, though. And if it does, then I'll farm them. We're gonna be farming a lot of Nulgath stuff in the next few days. Yeah. We can use Arch Pally for farming. Do I not have Arch? Oh my god, I put Arch Pally in my bank. Let's get it out of my bank. What do you guys think of that new that glitch that Ray made a video about yesterday? Pretty nutty, right? I was thinking of making a video about it, but I think I'm gonna wait because Ray's video. You guys should go watch it. Go check out Ray's channel if you haven't seen the video we uploaded yesterday. It's pretty insane. By pretty insane, I mean it's really, really, really insane. Oh wait, why is that Nulgath? I thought all Nulgath items or weapons were unstable. I guess not. You have 8 unidentified 13s. How do you? Well, are you bank glitching them? Because can't you only carry? Or not? Well, yeah, unidentified 13s. You can only carry 3 of, right? It's weird. Why isn't this not? Why are the unidentified 13s at the bottom? I don't know. Why is there like an unidentified 10 there and then an unidentified 13 down there? Inventories don't make any sense. Thanks for subscribing, Green Apple. Skinny's command. Is the class gonna be member? No. Not that it said anywhere. I'm sure they would have said it was member if it was gonna be member. Why do I not have any mana? Game, can I have mana, please? Thank you. Is Lycastle gonna go rare? I don't think so. Oh my god, I think I got timed. I guess got his ass timed out. I don't think. That would really suck if Lycastle was gonna go rare. Was bank glitching? It's like there's like a glitch with the bank where you can put more items in, or where you can stack items higher than they're supposed to stack. I've never done it, but I know it exists. Check Twitter DMs. I have a lot of Twitter DMs. Why do you send me a sideways picture in the Twitter DMs? Are you serious? You say what? What? So take it on your phone? Well, thank you anyway. My Twitter followers are the best, by the way. The second that Elena tweeted out about the new class, the name being changed to the new class, and like the art for it that's in the thumbnail, I got like 3 tweets of people people tweeting me the tweet that Elena tweeted out like instantly. I appreciate it. When is August's birthday again? It's supposed to, well, it's on the 6th. Let me look it up. The exact day, I think it's today actually. Pretty sure it's today. Smoke weed every day. You broke the picture didn't show up. You broke it with all your W's. There better be a limit on this. Someone should remix this. 16th, yeah, today. Can we get some W's in the chat? The chat's going a million miles an hour. Is there a limit? Dear God.
I donated didn't show up.
Okay, so I see that 5 minutes ago, Skitty also, or Ashes also donated $2. Thank you for that also. And he donated a bunch of W's with those $2. So maybe you overdid the amount of W's in the $2 one, and that's why it didn't show up. I don't know. Dear God. Maybe I have like, do I have spam protection on? I think I might. and like maybe keep the W's to like under, I don't know how many W's this software allows, but probably as many as you used the last time is probably the limit of how many W's the software allows. Oh, if I never hear another W again, I'll be happy. You don't have to mute people that are putting W's in the chat. It's fine. The chat was going so fast. Yeah, I want to record that one time when that's happening. Just a chat moving the speed of light. Like you couldn't even see that it was just a blur of W's in the chat. Yeah, Kevin, don't mute chat. And I saw that you sent me a game on Steam, Kevin. Thank you for that. But you don't have to mute chat if they're spamming something that everyone's spamming. It's fine. I mean, if they're spamming subscribe to their channel or whatever, then you can time them out. But if they're just spamming W's, it's fine. Clip it on internet fails. Yeah, get me on r/livestream fails. Where can we get the new class? It'll be available at, oh, what's the map? Teresium? Let me see. Here's the tweet. Boop. Oh, wait. Yeah, the Tressus, or Tressus map? I don't know. It will be a permanent addition to the Tressus map. And obtained from farming. Yes, the W's are definitely a meme on the channel. Definitely a meme. Will Stonecrusher go rare? No, Stonecrusher is a permanent class. Most rep classes are permanent. Have we ever had a rare rep class? Is there a rare rep class in the game? Have you ever had to rep for a class and then the class go rare? Has that ever happened? I don't think so. I can't think of one. The first link in the description. If you want to provide the stream with some W's. I wish there was a bug on the testing server to make quests go faster. That'd be great. That'd be great, right? like ranking up classes. Hey, when that new class comes out, we'll be able to get rank tenant real quick. Can't wait for that. Check Twitter DMs. Hey, thanks for following me on Twitch. Oh wait, keep farming. But then I can't stop, said I won't stop. Do I need to go to Twitch? No, it's the first link in the description. Yeah, sure, Plasma Light. If you want to do a video on this, yeah, I know. I saw Ray's video. Go check out Ray's video on that he uploaded yesterday. If you guys want to know that, you can get right now on the testing server you can get a class to rank 10 in like a few seconds. It's pretty nutty. If I had any classes I needed to get to rank 10, then I probably would. Hey, is AQW your favorite game? It's one of them. It's definitely a top 10 out of every game I've ever played. It's probably, yeah, it's probably in the top 5. It is in the top 5. I don't know where it ranks in there though. Like I'd have to really think about that for quite a while. The amount of games I've played. So many times you turn in this quest and you get nothing. Well, you do get 500 Dreadrock rep, which is quite good. Will there be an event? Yes, Friday is the event for Nalgath's birthday, and the class will be out then. But you can farm for it right now because we know it's going to be a lot of Nalgath items. And it's already been confirmed that you need gems and unidentified 13. So those are the only 2 items that have been confirmed to be needed for the class. Keep targeting myself. I'm gonna switch off this class for a sec. Let's go on to why do I have Shaman in my inventory but not Blaze? Why do I have Lightcaster Test? Show if you Shaman, why not? I'll see Shaman. When you wish there could be 7 players in a lobby. There can technically be 7 players in a lobby if one of those players is a moderator or tester for AdventureQuest. They can add themselves into any room they want to be in. Tainted gems or gems of Nalgath? Gems of Nalgath. Well, I think she just said gems. Nalgath gems? I think like something like that. That's what Elena said. It's on her Twitter if you want to go see the tweet. Best farming class? It's really depending on what you're farming, what the best class for the situation is. I want Blaze Miner. I want Blaze. No, it's not a pet. At the top. There we go. Why isn't the class out yet? Because they're waiting till Friday. It's technically Nalgath's birthday today, but they're waiting for Friday. Like it's such a big event that they're saving it till Friday. I wish they did like a drop or something today for Nalgath's birthday. That would have been really cool if they did that, but I guess they're waiting until Friday. Which is okay, because they do events every Friday. It'll probably be an early Friday release too, so I'm going to get up early on Friday. And, sucks for people that have to go to school Friday, but, you know. I'll probably be streaming like middle of the day, afternoonish on Friday. Maybe late, depending on how much farming we'll need to do and stuff like that on Friday. We'll see. What should I farm? You should be farming diamonds and unidentified 13s right now, and probably all the Nalgath items, like any of those farmable Nalgath items that you need for, like, basically go off like the Juggernaut item requirements, or like basically any requirement for any Nalgath quest. Just like go for all of them. Go for totems, go for gems, go for crystal shards, go for everything. Just get it all. It's vacation in Brazil. Nice. When's the server rewrite? Confirmed 2100. Yeah, it might be done by 2100. I'd hope so. I'd be over 100 years old. I'd be 102 years old in 2100. So let's hope it's finished by then. I'll be in the retirement home, kicking it on my laptop. How do you buy AQ membership? You scroll down, click upgrade. The rest is pretty self-explanatory. Well, the first part's pretty self-explanatory, but you asked anyway, so thought I would share some knowledge with you. Yeah, you can get unidentified 13s from the larvae pet. Scarlet Sorcerer is good for PvP? No, because you need to stack with it, so not the best for PvP. What is a server rewrite? You don't want to know what a server rewrite is, trust me. Yeah, I'm farming diamonds. I mean, we're not getting any, but I'm trying. Certainly trying. I mean, we're getting other stuff, which we'll probably need to, right? So, not a total waste if we don't get any diamonds. Check Twitter. Always checking that Twitter, eh? Yo, Ray's really close to 4K subs. Yo, a lot of people tune out the stream. Thank you, thank you. How old am I? 18? Almost 19? No, that's at the end of the year. I'll be 19. When's the new level cap coming out? Well, they already confirmed 85 in March, so the new one should be out sooner rather than later. Because 85 is supposed to be the second new level cap, so they're doing like a level cap and then another level cap. Although maybe they're just going from 65 to 85, which I could see having some huge balancing issues going 20 levels. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. We have a confirmed date of March for level 85 on the level cap, but that could change. Corey, stop ignoring the W's. Alright. It's the fastest way to farm reputation on a testing server with a bunch of armor on. That's the fastest way at the moment. Can't wait till Friday. I'm guessing you meant C. Is the S and W next? Yeah, they are. Even though it's just typing two E's. So I guess finger slip. See how hard Corey complain about how hard the class will be to achieve XD. Now I'm expecting it to be overwhelmingly hard to get. When's my next Twitch stream? I don't know. How'd I get the pet? It's a rare. From when the game hit 1 million likes on Facebook. They're at 1.3 million right now. They might do another one if they get to 2 million. Who knows? Maybe 1.5 mil. Yeah, I know Xrd. I'm probably not going to do any videos in the class unless they release it for testing. I'll let Dawn Sword or whoever wants to farm for hundreds of hours to get the class. It's class member only? Nah. When are AQ gonna give 200 ACs? They already did. They gave out 500 at the end of last year. Or at the beginning of this year, I guess. Oh shit, we're 3-3. Why am I not turning it in? There we go. That's what we want. Dinosaurs deleting the class 8 times. That'll be fun to watch. Someone's like, I can't even get it once. This guy deleted 8 times. It's gonna be good. I'm good, Ocean. How do you know the requirements for the class? Question mark at Corey Plays. There's been 2 requirements already confirmed. Diamonds and unidentified 13s. We're farming diamonds right now. I already have max unidentified 13s in my inventory, so we're farming diamonds. We'll probably need max of those in our inventory too, so we got a long road ahead. But I'm also going for the other items that drop from this quest. Plus this quest is really fast. I'm sure we'll need dark crystal shards. Probably at least 1,000 of them. Or however we can fit. However, we'll probably need as many of all the crafting materials that we can fit in our inventory, like max of everything would be my guess. Probably more than that. You probably have to max out stacks 2 or 3 times. If not more than that. We'll see. I think some people are going to complain. The class is too easy to get when it comes out. Because it's been overhyped as this super hard class to get. And I think some people are going to think it's too easy. But we'll see. We'll see when the time comes. We don't know the full requirements yet, so hopefully it's something hard. Why am I not attacking? What's wrong with my character? Why is my mana not going down? Oh, we have a stone. Do we have a stone crusher in the room? Is that why my mana's not going down? Yeah, what up? Is my health going up? My health going. Okay, there's my mana going down. Must have a stone crusher in the room. You just got back from watching Pew's vid. Oh yeah, it's a good video. Yeah, they said that they were adding new Nulgath items to existing Nulgath quests on his birthday, which is on Friday. Well, the event's on Friday. His birthday's today, but the event's on Friday. So they said they're adding new stuff to that. So there should be some new items in the quests. Should be cool. What's my favorite class? I don't know. I have a few. Is there only one monster? It looks like there's more than one. But the room does seem pretty slow, right? Alright, we'll leave after another turn in. Find a new room. Where do I use mouse or keys? Well, you can see right now that I'm using keys. When I was a lot younger, I used a mouse. For some reason. But you definitely want to use the keys on your keyboard. They're a lot better than your mouse. Of course they'll remove the testing server when the rewrite comes out. That's how that works. The testing server is only to test the rewrite. So once the rewrite's done, the testing server goes bye-bye. Yeah, they're adding new items to existing quests. Oh, we have the quest already. I read that on Zynotes somewhere. I think I said that on the post last week on the Zynotes. I went over it in last week's news video if you want to see video form of that. Corey, would you rather get a new class or Nulgath? Well, Nulgath was never a class designer. He just does art. So, I think Sync is making the Nulgath class that's coming out right now. Is it Sync that's making it? I might be wrong. I'm probably wrong. Although I think so. I don't know. Hopefully they have some cool AC rares too coming out in the event. Like, I'm down for farming, but I want some cool AC rares too. Hopefully the farming pet's AC. I'd be okay with them making the farming pet farmable, which for a limited time, and AC is also for a limited time. That'd be cool if they did that. But like, make it super hard, like harder than. It'd be funny if they put out the farming pet, but you could farm it if you didn't have ACs. But it was like, it was harder to get than the new class was. Or you could buy it for like 500 ACs. Played. Console or PC? I play exclusively on my PC. I went back a while ago and tried to play on a console, and I just can't control. I can't. Whenever I'm playing a game, like, I can't use a controller. It just doesn't feel right anymore. Like, I guess if I got used to it, I could probably go back to it, but just auto aim it feels like I'm hacking on console when I have the auto aim and stuff. Like, it just feels so weird. Yeah, I plan on making a setup video in the not so distant future, so expect one on my channel soon. Yeah, my PC is pretty high end, so I have a good experience playing every game I play on PC. Plus, most of the games I play are PC exclusive games too. So that's also a huge factor in why I like PC. Although console does have some cool games, but not enough cool games for me to want a console. Yeah, I've seen the armor Dracula. Is that, well, wait, are you talking about a different one? Let me check his Twitter page. I'm pretty sure I'm following him on Twitter. Let's check it out. It's Miltonius Arts, right? Yeah. So I really do have an issue with this armor, the look of it, because if you look at the female version, it looks. That's not the female AQW model. Like, here's the female AQW model in game right now, and there's. Do you see the difference? It's pretty apparent, isn't it? The difference. Talk about that armor. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the female version of the armor, although I do think the male version looks pretty sick. Hey Ray. Can I enable my go-to request? No, because you have to join. You have to go /join and then the map I'm in, dude. So that prevents people from just go-to spamming. So they actually have to like be paying attention to stream and see what map I'm in, so they can't just go to spam their way into the room. What's your experience index? I have 7.8. My Windows experience index. What? Let me Google that. Is that like a 7.8 on the Windows experience? I've never heard of anyone. I've never heard of the Windows Experience Index. it scans my computer's hardware, my computer would probably get a 10 if it's out of 10. My specs are in the description. Although it might not. We'd have to see. Because I have an SSD, which fastest hard drive storage you can get at the moment. Well, it's not the fastest because there's faster SSDs, but I'm sure in the Windows Index it would be fast. Like it would be like, oh yeah, that's up to par. I have a high-end graphics card, well, and I'm gonna get a higher-end one soon. So it might lose a little bit on the graphics, maybe. But my CPU was top of the range, although it got, well, actually the new one is about the same. It's like 3% faster. So yeah, I think, yeah, my computer's fine. What do you use to stream? I use OBS, Open Broadcast Software. Yo, those crystal Dreadrock gems, not getting any of them. The scale is 1 to 7.8. Alright. What was it called again? Windows Experience something? Is that on Windows 10? When I search it in my thing, nothing shows up on Windows 10. I search it in my taskbar. So maybe they weeded that out on Windows 10. I can give you my Cinebench. I get a 890 on Cinebench, which that's just CPU score. Yeah, I will, Mark. Later this week, though. Go check out Ray's video. Do you think AQW would function on an app? They have hired a dev studio to make it function on an app. So yeah, AQW is working on an application for iOS, Android, and Steam. So AQW will one day be capable of running on your phone without a third-party app. You got a 4.9 on the index. Okay, so I have to go to my control panel to do the experience indexing. Let me do that. Oh, never mind. I'd actually have to go in the command prompt. Yeah, they disabled it on Windows 8.1 and 10. That's what this site says. Never mind. Graphics score of 4.9, but I have a 1050 Ti. How are you benchmarking it? How are you Yeah, I guess it's not on Windows 10. It's gonna have an older operating system. Yeah, Glacial Berserker does have very laggy skills. Can't wait till the game's got its own engine and then we can finally run those classes with laggy skills without lagging. Gotta make sure I keep checking to see if my quest is finished. Yeah, most classes are OP that they put out these days. Hard to find a new class that isn't really powerful. Some people don't know like simple things in AQ. Some people are new to AQ. Hey, Kaylee. Always seems like we don't have the crystal gems. Unreal Engine. Yo, they gotta use Unreal Engine 4 for AQW. I'm pretty sure they're gonna use Unity. Although the new Unity engine's really powerful. In theory. What items do you want to be able to get from the resource pet? Be nice if it had a quest for all the items. But, you know, I don't know. I'd be happy with if it's a faster way to get anything than is currently in the game, then I'll be happy. Like if it's any of the Nulgath items that you need and like that are used in some of the Nulgath quests, then I'd be happy. If it's a faster way to get diamonds, if it's a faster way to get contracts, if it's a faster way to get gems, if it's a faster way to get anything, I'll be happy. Even if it's just a faster way than what I have currently, which is Craig and Bam and Nulgath Larvae. Corey using a bot. No, I'm not using a bot. Why do people come to my stream and ask if I'm using a bot? What? I never get that. Is it because I'm not clicking my mouse on the screen like a pleb? Is it because I use my keyboard to use my keys? Black Widow Ultimate. Let's see, okay. I'm more of a Corsair kind of keyboard guy. I've tried Razer keyboards and I'm a fan of the Corsair, but I'm sure you'll like the Razer keyboard. I hope that it's vouchers are the only hard thing to get at Corey Plays. This is Z and Corey Plays on S, so your ad only works if you spell it correctly. But yes, no, it'll be a lot harder than just getting vouchers. Like I used to consider jug items and Nulgath a hard quest, which is not. And if you think jug items and Nulgath is hard, you're probably not even gonna try to go for the new class that's coming out. At least I hope that's how they do it. I mean, it could be an easy quest, and like they just, well, for some people, for the more experienced people, it could be an easy quest. We really don't know. They've said it was hard requirements, but they didn't say how hard. Alright, don't spam what is your real name in chat. My real name is Corey, spelled the same way. Thoughts on the new AMD Ryzen CPUs? Well, they're cheaper than the Intel ones with equivalent, if not more, performance. So, I might get one. We'll see. We'll see how we gotta wait for benchmarks, right? Like we only know what AMD's told us so far. We gotta wait till all the review channels have their samples, which a lot of them already have said on podcasts. Because I follow a lot of these tech channels, like to keep up to date with the latest like computer components and stuff. And a lot of them already have review samples and have already benchmarked them, but they're under NDA and they can't say anything about them until they're officially launched. So we'll see once the reviews are out for the new Ryzen CPUs. But I'm hopeful that AMD gets their shit back together and hopefully they compete with Intel again. And our quest is complete. We should turn in. Seems like you get a lot of shards. You can buy the class using ACs? Negative. You cannot buy the class using ACs. It's a farming only class. Is that a non-member quest you're doing? I can't tell because I've been a member for a long time, since before this area came out, so it might be a member quest that I'm doing. I'm not sure, man. You have to come to /join Dreadrock and see for yourself if you're a non-member. You see Elena's post. They should make another post. Oh, thank you for following me on Twitch, by the way. I heard that. Ta-da. Yo, heal please. Character. Thank you. I've seen the server rewrite video that the guy is DMing me about. Thank you for tweeting out. The stream. If you see on my AQ 3D first person tweet today, pretty dank. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. First person may become a feature in AQ 3D in the not so distant future. I think that's public knowledge. Although not a lot of people play MMOs in first person, but it's a cool feature. Yeah, I saw Elena's most recent tweet as she replied, giving any more information. No, she hasn't replied giving more information on the class, so no. Yeah, I'm caught up on all of Elena's tweets. Do you drive in real life? No, but I could. Am I not weirded out about talking to myself? Well, technically I'm not talking to myself. I'm talking to the 230 people that are in chat right now. So technically not talking to myself. Although if I wasn't connected to the internet live streaming, then yes, I would be talking to myself. And that would be weird. But there's 200 people watching me talk to myself, so that's not weird. How to get Void HIGHLORD quest. Our class. Quest. Farm a lot of nullgas stuff, my dude. I'm waiting for Friday. Wear the most savage looking set. I saw that comment a few times, my dude. And I don't know what you think is savage looking set. Like a, I don't know what a savage looking set looks like. Is there like an urban dictionary for savage? As it pertains to the visual appearance of an item. Because I don't know. Am I British? No, I'm Canadian. I live in Canada, where it's very cold right now. Would not recommend visiting in the winter. Unless you like snowboarding. Then I would come here. I think AQ is a MMO. Yes, it is. Yes, Adventure Quest Worlds is an MMO. The original Adventure Quest was not. That was just an RPG. Where do you get this quest? The quest I'm currently doing is, you'll see me turn it in a second. Do you use full wisdom blaze? Yes, I do. By savage, you mean beastly. Alright. As cool as a potato. Well, potatoes, to keep potatoes from going bad, you keep them in cold areas. So potatoes normally aren't cold. Fun facts. Fun facts. Beastly. I don't really like beastly looking sets. I guess Nulgath stuff, like that armor that guy's looking, looks pretty beastly. Although I don't know if you mean beastly in like the bro sort of sense, like dude that looks beast, or like the beastly as in like an animal. I don't know. Are you from Canada? Yeah, born here. I've lived in 2 different what, provinces. I wanted to call them states for a second. State, well, they're the same as states if you live in the US. On a scale of 1 to 10, how tiring does the stream make you? 6? 7 maybe? Depending on the stream, how long I stream. You look Irish. I'm actually Dutch, so... Is that close? Or is places... I don't know. I'm not Irish, though. Yeah, all dots are insane on the testing server. I would do the farming on the testing server, except like I'm scared that like progress won't save or something will bug out. Oh, you have dual citizenship? That'd be cool. I wish I had that. If you go to like any, Yolgar and ask for a larvae pet, you know, but you gotta, the person has to be a member to equip it. But if you see anyone that has a membership, just ask them if they have a larvae pet. There's a good chance they will, and if they're nice enough, they'll equip it for you. So, pro tips. And here's another pro tip: if you have a Nulgath larvae pet, even though you're not a member, you can go in your inventory and click on him. There's a pro tip. Although I don't know if that works if you're not a member. Might not. But it's still pretty cool that you don't have to have the pet equipped. That's even a tip for members that just can't be bothered to equip the pet. Hey Corey, I sent you a pic, Nulgath set in the new shop. Check your Twitter. Really? Some rumors. That would be pretty cool. Yep. That'd be a cool set to have. In AQ. The shield's huge too. You got all your classes rank 10? Yeah. I might go get like no classes and other classes rank 10 on test server right before they patch that. Oh, we're done the quest. Because they're gonna patch that, or at least I hope they patch it soon. It's pretty broken. Even just normal farming's pretty broken. Like when the new when Lightcaster came out, I got to rank 10 in like it was like less than 10 minutes or something like that. But that's super broken, being able to do it in like under a minute. I think they fixed some monster respawning on the bugs on the testing server. Hopefully they did. Because I remember like certain monsters wouldn't respawn for quite a while on the testing server. Kind of like you're playing AQ3D. How slow those monsters respawn. Which I can't believe. If anyone played the new event in AQ3D, that boss was on a 2-minute respawn timer. So imagine if I had to wait 2 minutes for these guys to respawn. I just wouldn't be doing this. I don't think I'd still be playing AQ if every monster. Imagine if every monster in AQ took 2 minutes to respawn. I would have quit a long time ago if that was the case. I don't get how AQ players put up with that. AQ3D players put up with that. So I guess I didn't get the armor in AQ3D, like the armor that drops off the big guy, because I spent 3 hours farming and I didn't get it. And you most of that time farming, and that 3 hours was me just waiting for the boss to respawn and then insta killing him. Oh, that ticks me off. I made a video about it. Hopefully Arctic sees that video. We realized diamonds are a 5% drop from the quest. That's actually not a bad drop chance from the quest. And I'm not here just for diamonds. I'm here for everything, right? Like all three of these items. I need all three. At least I think I need all three. Hopefully I need all three. You'll probably need all three. So I'm fine if I get anything from the quest. Alright, yeah, I'll change the room after next turn in. We have 2 people using the 2 big 100Ks in the room too. I love it. It's a great sword. Are the people AFK though? I don't think so. Oh yeah, there's a person standing right. Oh, it might be turning in though. If that cat lady doesn't come back. Oh yeah. I don't know. There's no one AFK here. It looks like someone was. But we'll find a new room anyway, just so we can play with other players from the stream. You take off go-tos. Go-tos are off. At least they should be. Unless they accidentally. Yeah, they're off. Like always. Alright. Thank you for farming with me, guys. I'll join a new room now. Just so we can farm with other people. When's the class and pet coming out? Friday. But you can farm it. But we know that we're going to need Nulgath items. And there's been 2 items already confirmed that you can farm for. So that's what we're doing. And I know this isn't the fastest way to get diamonds, but there's a chance of getting diamonds doing this, and we also get the other stuff too, so good times. Hey, Doom Valley. No one's healing. Yeah, I know it's in-game and Oversoul, but it was... People are speculating that it's going to come out in AdventureQuest World because they said some Oversoul items are going to come in. Well, I think they confirmed that some Oversoul items are coming to AdventureQuest Worlds on Friday. I think you have maxed out stacks of Titanium Gems and Dark Shards. Alright, let's see. It could be. Dark Crystal Shards are at 126. I don't think that's max. Although my Tangents might be. Tans are at 200, which... Is that max? Is 200 max for Titanium Gems? But... I don't think crystals are maxed, and I'd like them to be. I'd watch Summit, twitch.tv/Summit1G. Just watching him will help you a lot more than me explaining how to play H1Z1. Yeah, it is Nolgat's birthday today. Dark is 150. Okay. Diamond's 300. Yeah, unless you bank glitch, of course. Some people do. I don't know if bank glitching is bannable. Does anyone know if bank glitching is bannable? Oh, rip. Monsters aren't respawning. Someone probably tried to glitch the room. Don't try to glitch the room I'm in, please. So I'll just leave it. Virtual items are worth money. It's a fallacy that some people think they aren't. If you've ever had a bank account, you'll know. Like my bank account, I have never seen the physical money in my bank account. It probably doesn't exist. My bank account is just numbers on a screen. The numbers go in, the numbers go out. It's just numbers. Same with the items in game. They're just items. It's not bannable. I got one response from that. In the description of Dark Crystal Shards, it says it stacks to 50, but it stacks to 250. They probably increased it, but they just forgot to update the description. That's pretty funny. Oh, diamonds. Let's go, boys. 5%. Anything that isn't supposed to be in the game is bannable. False. False, Frankie. No, Plank. I read all of Elena's Twitter. I'm up to date. And I get notifications on my phone whenever Elena tweets. So I'm usually one of the first people to find out the news. Is that the real Plank? Maybe. Can I switch rooms? I just did switch rooms like twice in a row. So we'll stay in this room for a little bit. $5K dot. I'll take a 5K dot. Using a macro is bannable. It would depend on what kind of macro. Like if I had a macro to say hello, which I don't, because I don't have any macro keys on my keyboard, that wouldn't be bannable. But let's say you had a macro to complete quests for you, that would probably, yeah, that would be bannable. Like if I had a macro that type /join and then Dreadrock, and I just hit like Control-3 and then my macro I put in the macro, which I think I can do that on my keyboard, that wouldn't be bannable. Is there a faster way to get unidentified 13 other than larvae? I don't think so. Maybe Dredgen or Craig and Bam. But I think people figured out that it's about the same speed, or the larvae might actually be faster. I think people figured that out. Swag K-Dog's dead. Someone else actually, I think a fan took the account. So there's a fan right now using the Swag K-Dog account. You can look up the character page. See? And he's leveled up since the last time I checked his character page too, so it's an active account. Like there's someone using the account. They got jug items on it already too. like there's someone using the account right now. It's just cool. So the account lives on. Although it's not me using that account anymore. So if you see anyone with that account, they're not me. Corey is a noob. Yes. Very noob. Craig and Bam is 3 diamonds per unidentified. Oh, that's pretty. Hey, that's pretty good deal. So Craig and Bam's the fastest way to get it then. To get unidentified 13. So that's really fast. 3 diamonds. You can get 3 diamonds in a few, like a minute or 2, right? That quest like doesn't take too long to get 3 diamonds. You have an exam tomorrow, but can't miss Corey's live stream. Was it late where you are? Because it's only 4 p.m. where I live. Hey, you should study for your exam and watch at the same time. Multitask. Someone stole your account? No one stole it. I did a name change on my current account because they wiped out a bunch of the old names that were taken. So I got Corey. Well, it looks like Corey in game. It's actually K0REY. But if you look in the in-game, like right down there, it looks like Corey. So I took that. The actual Corey, Korey, is still taken. I think they count bottom membership, so it'll never be deleted, which feels bad, man. But you know, second best thing. Fastest way to get a voucher? That's probably just any of the quests from the Nalgath Larvae, Craig and Bam, or Dredgen. How are you gonna farm these Nalgath totems? They're 50 XD. Did I use Ray's little cheat yet? I don't think it's a cheat, it's a glitch. And no, I haven't used it yet, but I'll probably do a video on it later this week. Hey, subbed? Hey, welcome to the channel. Yo, this quest is not finishing for some reason. Like those crystals just aren't dropping. Oh, sick. Wait, what does Dolphin have for a name then? See, there's this some people in the chat might actually know this, but there's a YouTuber for AQW that his name is Dolphin. Does he not have the username Dolphin? I wonder what his username is. His last video was posted a year ago. Oh, his name is iDolphin. Okay. I wonder if he'll come back to AQ. Maybe. I have so many subscribers. Well, yeah, I post a lot of videos. I have over 1,000 videos on my channel. Running close to 1,100 videos soon. And I'm always active, and yeah, I stream whenever there's new content stuff. Like, people subscribe. Now, if all my subscribers watch all my videos, that would be great, right? Am I a junior in high school? No. Corey, can you make a Dawn Sword video deleting all your rares and hard to get items? Yeah, sure, I'll do that. Kappa. No, I'm not gonna do that. I actually like most of the rares I have. I only get rares that I actually like, so I like all the rares I have. Every AQ YouTuber is waiting for rewrite. I'm not. I could care less if the rewrite comes out. It's not gonna change. It's just the rewrite's just a balance change. It's like being super excited for the new, like the new Diva nerf in Overwatch. Like, yeah, like it's gonna be good for the game, but I'm not excited for it. It's just a balance change, right? Like, it'll change a few things in the game, and once it's done, I'm excited for the new features that are gonna come with the rewrite once it's finished. Like the new game client being able to run the game at a stable frame rate and stuff like that. I'm excited for that stuff. But as far as the server rewrite itself, I'm not anywhere. That should have happened years ago. I'm not excited for it. Should I get the Shadow Stalker class? Yes, but buy the calendar. Don't buy the in-game. Don't buy it in-game with ACs. You get a lot more value if you buy the calendar. How many totems in Elgath? Do you have, and how are you gonna farm them? I'll farm them with Craig and Bam. Or is there a better way to get totems? I'm sure chat knows a better way to get totems than Craig and Bam. But yeah, like if I need totems, I'll get them. We'll have some. There's no leaks. Let's check AQ Reddit. Let me quickly check the AQW Reddit, see if there's any leaks. Any new leaks? Because the old leaks were proven false. Sorry, I'm on the Reddit right now. And apparently the new... I don't know how credible this is. Can't really... So, new Nalgath farming pet quest. Void Knight sword quest. So that play along with my idea of that sword and that picture on Nalgath's Twitter being the farming pet. So that makes sense. Items required. Is that required for the quest? And that's the items you get from the quest. So it's a sword with one quest? Okay. So you can read that if you want to. It's on the AdventureQuest subreddit. AdventureQuest World subreddit. No, but it doesn't look like we have any new leaks. Am I Danish? No, I'm Canadian. Best class in AQ on Dead Goat? Yeah, sure. Tell me the best support class. Best support class, hands down, is Stonecrusher. Followed by the new Lightcaster class that came out, which does a huge debuff. Is Lightcaster in the shop going to be in the shop with the rest of the classes? No, it's just right. You go here, shops, Lightcaster. You buy that armor, and then you click there and get the class. You get an armor with the class for free, so very good deal. Oh, we're done the quest. We should turn in. Craig and Bam. Yes, diamonds. Let's go. Yeah, I'm Canadian, like 10% of my audience. Hey, 10% of you that are Canadian. Is it 10% of my audience that's Canadian? One sec, let me fact check that. Because I can see like what country people watch my videos from in my analytics. And I think it's a good percentage of them that are Canadian. Let me see, demographics, I think is it under? What's their female percentage of demographics? Age. Doesn't say. Playback locations, that would be it actually. Oh no, that's actually not it. Where is it? I have like a 3% female audience. Good to know. Good to know. Where do you find what country people watch your videos? So I knew this before, but I can't find it right now. Oh, here we go. Wow, Canada's actually pretty huge. But that doesn't give me the percentage, it just gives me watch time. .6% of my viewers are from Canada. 15% are from the Philippines. 25% are from the United States. 5% are from Brazil. Hey, Brazil. And we have 4.8%, so basically 5 from the United Kingdom, and 43% are in other. I don't know where that is, but hey, everyone that's in a other country. I don't know why YouTube just like, yeah, all the other countries, there you go, other. You don't get your own statistic. Is there a class that has an AoE dot? Blaze Binder does AoE dot, right? It applies dot to more than one person at once, right? Yeah, see, I have dot on 2 people right now. I'm in the 25% US. Oh, well, there's a good chance that 25% of the people in chat right now are from the United States. If not more, based on the time I'm streaming at. They're probably more. 40% is North Korea. Yeah, probably. Important question. You reached level 60 today? Well, you only got 5 more levels and your level cap. Yes, we got a drop from the quest. Good stuff. No, YouTube analytics only recognize 2 different genders, female and male. I wonder how they figure that out, because when you create a Google account, it doesn't ask you if you're female or male, does it? Does it just go by like the videos you watch? They're like, oh, this guy this person watches 90% makeup tutorials on YouTube, so probably a female, or a guy that really likes makeup. Brazil's not 1%, Brazil's like 5. Which is that's a pretty good percentage. Enough to get its own stat. I leveled up to 83. You can't be leveled to 83. Let's not talk genders in chat. Come on, guys. It's a joke. Chill. I'm an alien. Google are spying on you. You know, they probably are. Well, you're on YouTube a lot, aren't you? So they know what you like to watch. Connecticut. I go to Connecticut one day. We'll see. Probably. How long did it take you to 65? I just got there when the level cap increased. I think it increased from 60 to 65, so I got this 5 levels. Took me a while. I'm vegan. Give me this medal. Filthy Frank. Overused copy post. Where can you get the class? The location is confirmed, but and some of the requirements are confirmed, but other than that, we don't know. Minnesota. What's the capital city in Minnesota? I'm Canadian, so I don't really learn that kind of stuff. Capital city of Minnesota would be... Is Milwaukee in Minnesota? I don't know my US geography that well, being Canadian. Funny, you can say copy pastas and not get your mod removed. Who's saying copy pasta? Well, no, your copy pastas are like Super Mario with his dick out. Like, this guy just copy pasta some text. I'm fine with that. Extra, come on. I live in Florida. I've been to Florida. I've been to Florida. Beautiful, beautiful state. Very moist, though. The air is very, very moist there. Milwaukee's in Wisconsin. There you go. There's too many states. You got 51 of those things. Like, there's too many of them. Michigan's really close. I could drive to Michigan and it would be like less than a day away from me. I know I'm 8 hours away from Seattle. That's my reference to how close I am, which is the closest major city in the United States to me. Even though I live in Canada. St. Paul is Minnesota's capital, by the way. I've never heard of St. Paul. I've never heard of that city. They must not get very much publicity over there in St. Paul. The only thing we know about the class is you need diamonds and unidentified 13s for it, and it'll be available at Therese or like it's on Elaine's Twitter where it'll be when it's out, and it's coming out on Friday. But we do know some requirements for it, so we can farm those requirements we do know. And the new class is farming only. Do you even lift, bro? No, I don't lift. At one point, I did lift. Then I got bored of it. You're lonely at my house? I'll probably go back to my house at the end of the stream, so if you stay there, should be there. Fastest way to get unidentified 12? Is that a weapon? Isn't unidentified 12 a weapon? Is that a merge item? Unidentified 12? Do I have that? I have unidentified 24 and 13. I don't know 12. Although I think unidentified 12 is a weapon. What's your max bench press? I don't know. Honestly, don't know. I don't really go to the gym. I don't know if you can tell. Is new class going rare? No, it's confirmed not going rare. So you won't have to worry about getting it quickly. Because I'm sure a lot of people won't be getting it quickly. Fast way to get unidentified 13. That is doing any of the Nolgath quests that give you it. I think the chances of getting it's the same no matter what quest you're doing. So just do whatever one you prefer. You know, I could probably bench a good 10 pounds, you know? How heavy is your mom? Do a leg refuel? I'm pretty sure you've seen my legs on stream before. Oh, that's weird. Maybe in the summer you'll see my legs. Abyssal Angel was a letdown? Hell no, dude. Abyssal Angel is a beast class. Maybe you just wanted it to be something that it wasn't. Do a body review. News at 1 mil. Kappa. Football. In my country, we say football. On Twitter, of course. Oh yeah, Twitter isn't like Instagram where like, I think Instagram bans your account for nudity, but Twitter doesn't. That's why Twitter's better. How are unidentified 13s 1%? And I have 3 of them. Treasure chests are 0.75% chance drops, which are lower than 1%, and you probably have 250 of them. That's how. Because the 1% drop still drops. Where can I find the class? You can find it on Friday. What server does Corey play on again? Damn, the crystals just really don't drop in this quest. Feels bad. Should we be room swapping? Is there like a room that we can do this faster in? Does it work in this room? No, it didn't work in that room. Maybe I just drop right. Can I buy your nudes? 1 mil. You're too nice answering these questions over and over. That's normally how my streams go. My stream is just me answering the same question hundreds of times. People keep asking them. I should have like a frequently asked questions or something like I knew I was gonna get asked where the class is 1,000 times in this stream. But yeah. And I don't answer it every time. You play game in Soviet Russia, game plays you. I have a bad Russian accent. I played Zarya too much. That was horrible. Zarya is my reference for Russian accent at the moment. Yo, 10 million subs and Corey takes a pic of his penis. Goddamn. And PewDiePie would have 10 pics of his penis on the internet. There you go. Where can I found the class? That sentence doesn't work because found is past tense. So you would have already found it if you wanted to found the class. So you wouldn't need to find it if you already found it. This play's worth it? Hell yeah. It's my favorite song. I don't know, it changes all the time, but I think right now it's Heathens by 21 Pilot. Is that the people? I don't know, but if you search Heathens on YouTube, you'll find it. I think it's my favorite song at the moment. How big is my shirt? It's a medium. What a weird question. Although I think I need large shirts. Do I watch Zoe Burger? No, I watched her channel when she first started on YouTube for some reason because she was blowing up real quick. But I haven't seen any of her recent stuff, like none of it. I haven't subbed a while back. Just not content's not for me. It was interesting for a little bit, like the fact that she was growing in subscribers so quickly from just like twerking on stream and stuff. But like, yeah, wears off pretty fast. No, doodle me, I'm not saying that. Yeah, I think I need large shirts. It's like, I don't know. Like I'm wearing an adult medium shirt right now, and like, I don't know. The sleeve should be a little bit longer. I think. I don't. Maybe it fits okay, but I think it depends on the brand of shirt too, right? Are character badges important for you? No. I'd have a lot more if they were. And most character badges are just obtained from buying stuff these days. Oh, I got a badge for that finally? Nice. I mean, I don't mind having more badges, but I didn't have the badge initially. I don't mind having lots of badges, but I think the only one that's important to me is the Honorable Hero. I don't know why I even like it. It's just a cool badge to have. He's a good player. He's a nice guy. Like the nice guy badge. I don't know. But like, nah, it's bad. Like most of my badges are obtained from just buying stuff, like spending money on the game. So it's not really big a deal. If the badges were actually like hard to get or something like that, then that'd be cool. But they're not. So you only watch as Mia Khalifa? No. This is taking so long? What's taking so long? Yeah, you need to enhance all your weapons. What the fuck? What size pants are you? 30 something? I don't know. It's been a while since I bought pants. I'd have to like look. I'd have to look at the label on my pants. It's been such a long time since I bought different pants. I should probably buy some new pants. Oh yeah, like the Minecraft animation porn on YouTube and stuff. Those Minecraft animations. Corey, you didn't get the orbs? No, I'll get the new farming pets coming out though, Aaron. I wasn't playing actively when the orb was out. Or maybe I was, but I just didn't know that it was a farming pet or something like that. I don't know, but for some reason or the other, I didn't get the farming pet or the astral orbs when they came out. Which I'm fine. Your laugh is so weird. Oh, thank you. Nope, I'm a out of school adult at the moment. Fun stuff. No, because he's in middle school. Too true. I mean, I act like it, but... What are the new requirements? We only know 2 of the requirements, which is diamonds and unidentified 13s. I wish they would put out the requirements, and they probably will tomorrow, hopefully. I'll drop a DM, we'll see what's up. Maybe something will come out tomorrow, but... I don't know. I love your laugh, heart. Oh, thank you, thank you. Do you play League? Not actively. I like the game, but well, I like it and I don't like it at the same time. Like I like parts of it, but I don't like other parts of it at the same time. Like it's very mixed feelings on League. If you have Astro Orb Pet, is it faster than this quest? I would guess so. Most people like the Astro Orb Pet. I mean, I haven't had it, and I haven't used it in like I haven't used it, but people say it's good, so it might be better. I don't know. If you have it, check. Change your title to Server Year. People are still asking my server though. Like I don't think people in the chat. I think I only got asked my server once this stream that I saw, or maybe my mind's just like blanking out what server you're on in the chat. Is Arch Pally worth the trouble? Yeah, definitely. Arch Pally is definitely worth it. Although I did buy it for ACs, so I don't know. I shouldn't be talking, but it does a lot of damage and it's really good. So you should get it. The only reason I bought it for ACs is to make videos on it faster. I would have farmed it. Old Corey would have farmed it. What's your server? Thanks for asking that. Yeah, thanks guys. I can see how much delay is on the stream now. It's a good like 30-second delay. What server am I on? Let me just this will be the content for the rest of this. Wait, OBS, come on, OBS. It'll be a butthole. This will be the content on the stream for the rest of the stream. No gameplay, just servers. Fast way to get gem with Nolgath. Slash showing Evil War Null. That's it. Evil War Null, one word. Because every map name's one word. Type bigger, can't read. You might need some glasses. Or not watch me on a... Oh, what's that small little Apple iPod Nano? I don't even know. You probably can't even get a YouTube app on those little iPod Nanos. Hey, maybe that's why people can't see the server. Maybe they're watching me on iPod Nanos or on their toaster. Like that little LED screen on that has like a clock on the toaster. They're watching me on that. Or their microwave. Maybe that's why they can't see what server I'm on. Yes, I'm a bad CS:GO player. The 140p YouTube watcher. 144. I don't know why YouTube even offers that. You can't really see anything if you're watching on 144p like that. Like, you can't see anything. I mean, you can try to see something, but I don't think you would. I'm using my dog to watch Corey. Imagine like a dog with a screen like attached to it, the side of the dog, like a truck with an advertisement on the side of it. It's your dog just walking around the house. Check the wiki. What's on the wiki? What PC do you have? My specs and descriptions. Custom built PC built by myself. Built my own PC. All the specs for it in the description. It's a pretty good PC. Even my friend's phone can run AQW faster than my second computer. Yeah, well, some phones are pretty good. Like, they have pretty good specs in them. Because most people pay about $1,000 for their phones. Like, new iPhones are always like $1,000. So, they do give you a good amount of performance for the money. Let's switch maps. It seems like there's only like one guy spawning here. I tattooed a phone onto my Doge. I don't think that would work. Sweet golden XP rewards. You know it, you know it. That's what we're all about. We're farming golden XP. Seems like it. I will spam you. Don't spam my Twitter. I'll block you. I actually use my Twitter. You can go spam my Facebook though. I don't use that. Follow me on Facebook. I only share my videos on it and nothing else. So, would recommend. Or I think it's liking on Facebook. I don't know. I don't use Facebook. Except to post my videos on it. Do you know? don't know. It's not letting me gain class XP for Lightcaster. You have to go to a room where the enemy is a higher level than your level of your character. I think that's how it works. Something like that. Or they have to be like close to your level. MySpace? I was never on MySpace. Not even when it was popular. Stupid fact, did you know the Chaos boss map is actually less laggy than White map? Yeah, I wonder why White map's laggy. It's weird, right? And it's just like switch rooms, please. Why? We just did. We just switched rooms. Welcome to stream. You get a new Nolgath Knight set? Well, I don't know if you've seen the Nolgath Knight set for female characters, which people always, I always get a comment on my video. Why is your character female, Corey? Why is your character a female? But if you've seen the armor for the female character, she looks kind of anorexic, so I don't think so. Well, the armor itself is pretty cool, and I'm definitely getting whatever that is. That's probably the farming pet based on leaks, but we'll see. If it's a farming armor, I might get it, but it's most likely going to be an AC item, and if it's not too many ACs, I might still get it anyway. If it's like 250 ACs, I might get it, but it's probably going to be 750 ACs for that armor. Change the male, PogChamp. I think I'm too invested into the female armors and stuff at this point. It's very skinny. Yes, it is. Looks very unhealthy. Why is... Okay, now I'm getting asked in the stream. Why is the character female? Because the female armors in the game. Most of the armor creators for AdventureQuest Worlds make their armors for female characters, and they port them over to male characters. Nolgath, I think, just has a thing for thin females. If you look at his art recently, very thin females. That's what Nolgath has a thing for. So that's probably why all of Nolgath's armors are very thin, but most of the normal AQ artists, they all make this stuff for female characters, or most of the time they do. If I was born a female, what would my name be? I actually know, but I'm not gonna say it 'cause it's really trashy. What would people actually call me if that was my name? I don't know. I'm not gonna tell anyone, but no. I know what my name would have been if I was born a female, because my parents knew it. They had the backup plan. But I'm not saying it. Corlina? No, it had nothing to do with Corey. It was a completely different name. Corlina. It's not a name. How am I supposed to farm for that when I don't have a pet? Farm for what? Lenny. What are you farming for that you don't have a pet for? No, Caroline I think is only a trashy name if you live in the US. I've never heard that name out of the United States. Like it seems like it's a Bible Belt sort of name, Caroline. You have 22 KOC? Should give me some. Kidding. That'd be weird though if you could give people ACs. Like just in game, you're like, here, have 10 ACs. Beatrice? I don't think anyone's been named Beatrice in the past 100 years. Am I allowed to swear? Go for it. Just don't go crazy with it. Diamonds. PogChamp. Caroline sounds like a fucking witch name. Lumbo. It does, yeah, it does kind of sound like a witch name. How many spirit orbs do you need for the blood? Binding Light Destiny? I think it's like 150, maybe. Your friend's name is Beatrice. Didn't know that. I've never heard anyone. I've never met anyone named Beatrice in real life. So, not ever, real life. Like I've never come across anyone named Beatrice before. That might be like a United States thing. Could be Corey, don't lie. Corey could actually be a female name too. I've met females named Corey before. Toe fetish? I got a slogan for chocolate milk was bad. Want to hear it? No thanks. Sounds like it's gonna be a little racist if you come off like that. How could you be so rude thinking no one was named Beatrice? I don't know, it just doesn't sound like a name that people still use. Like it sounds like an old name. Like an old like a name that was used in like the 1920s when people were born then. Like different names go in and out of fashion, right? Like no one being born today is named Corey. Like my name is part of like it was popular around the time I was born in the late 1990s. It's like I don't expect seeing any babies named Corey. Yeah, the Philippines is a cool place. Stop, my name is Beatrice. I'm sorry, it just seems like an older name. Like I have nothing against it. Like I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that it wouldn't be a common name. Like Beatrice wouldn't be a common name if you were born in the past like 20 years. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Is there a requirement for doing Dreadrock gem exchange? I don't know. It might be a member only quest. What type of shoes do you wear? I wear... What a weird question. Why do I answer all these weird questions on stream? Those are the shoes I have right now. So I think they're a little bit darker. They look somewhat like that. A lot of people have like Yeezys and stuff, and I honestly don't like how Yeezys look. And the fact that they're like super expensive. Are you a weeaboo? No. What's my favorite class? Blaze Binder. Always will be. I don't know. What are those? You're a savage. I had Cyrus. Is that the shoe brand before that? I normally wear like Adidas. They're so comfortable. Yeah, they are. Very comfortable shoes. I'm probably gonna get some board shoes for the summer. Do I like Scarlet Sorceress? Of course. It's a good class. No waifu. NMDs. I don't know what an... I probably know what an NMD is, but I don't know it offhand. NMD. Hopefully it shows me the Adidas. Yeah, it does. Sorta. Yeah, sort of. I'm not big into trainers, though. That's what they call them, I guess. I don't know, like, just that type of shoe, right? I like I BMX'd and skateboarded and stuff growing up, so I wear a lot of skateboarding and shoes and stuff like that. Rather than like workout shoes or whatever. Well, style-wise. Favorite sword? Favorite sword. It's like one of those older Dage weapons, like a long time ago. I don't really know the name offhand. You need a pair of Ultra Boosts. Oh yeah, those look okay. PIK? Never heard of it. I live in Canada. We don't really have that good of a shoe selection, honestly. Unless you order them offline. What type of board did you ride? Shit, what's that brand with the... I didn't really know the brand. I wasn't that good at... I'm more BMX. It's been a long time. You need a pair of AIDS. They should put a BMX for it. You could ride around like Wolf Riders. And if you hold space when you're moving, you do a wheelie. That'd be great. You know, when you jump, it looks like you're bunny hopping. That'd be awesome. You do the backflip emote to do a backflip on your BMX. Yo, they should put a BMX, and the running animation could be you pedaling the bike. Yo, that'd be sick. They should put a BMX mount in the game or whatever. Gotta heal. I would totally buy that for ACs. That'd be great. Because they have a snowboard in the game, right? I don't think they have a skateboard, but they do have a snowboard in the game, so they've done it before. Oh, the snowboard doesn't really make sense. A BMX would make a lot more sense from like a logical standpoint. That'd be awesome. Oh, I'm done the quest. Yeah, right. Good call, good call. Paying attention. Favorite NPC at AQ? I don't think I have a favorite. No, Twig. Twig is my favorite. Play basketball? Well, I do sometimes. I was on a basketball team for a year. I don't really like team sports. No, I'm really a team sort of person. They listen to you with like castles. Hope they had a BMX. I'll tweet it. I should tweet it out later. The idea. It'd be cool. That'd be a cool map. Like, do that in the summer. Like, they do that in the summer rare shop. That'd be cool. I mean, that's coming up sooner. Soon. Corey's trolling. What am I trolling about? What's the last time you got diamonds? Like, probably 10, 20 minutes ago? I don't know. How long have we been streaming? We've been streaming for, holy shit, 2.5 hours already. Oh shit, it's done already. So yeah, it's been a while since we've got a few diamonds today though. I'm happy with the amount of diamonds we got. I'm not really doing hardcore grinding. If I want a hardcore grind out diamonds, I go to Evil War and all, but I'm just gonna casual grind. Favorite NBA? No, I don't watch basketball. I play it. I don't watch it. I don't watch any sports, to be honest. Clickbait scrub. Read the title, please. Void HIGHLORD class farming. AQW AdventureQuest Worlds. That's the title. I mean, if English isn't your first language, I understand. You can put that in the Google Translate. It should give you about the same. But it says farming. Not class guide. Not how to get. It says farming. You got time to saying it too. So, what time is it in your country? I live on the West Coast, so it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Do you know when the server is supposed to be coming out? Yeah, it's gonna come out as soon as people stop asking me what server I'm playing on. Soviet Russia Sports watches you. The closest thing I watch to sports is esports. Honestly, I'll watch a CS:GO tournament. I'll watch a league tournament, but I will not watch grown ass men run around in a field kicking a ball. No, thank you. But I'll watch guys sit at a desk shooting each other with guns, though. Because I actually do that. Not judging, but why are you a girl? Just wondering. The female armors are hot. CS:GO in 2K17. Lord. No, I just think the female armors are better than the male armors most of the time. I'd watch some female volleyball. I like how 2 people brought up female volleyball. They're like, Corey, you should watch that. Go to your house. Soon. We'll be at our house soon. Are you neutral because you're a boy and a girl? So people take the character way too serious. So like, oh, you're a girl in game, you must be a girl IRL. Thanks for the guide. You're welcome. Guide on what? Whatever. Did I just do a guide? What? Lenny face. Favorite armor? I don't think I have a favorite armor at the moment. Plot twist, Corey's female volleyball. If I had to pick a favorite armor right now, it'd probably be Blackcaster. Though I really don't like armors that change my face. Yo, Frost Ninja's pretty sick. Yo, the ugly Christmas sweater. Yes. Best female armor. Or best armor, period. Ugly Christmas sweater. Get it. Yo, plus this helmet, dude. This helmet's awesome. Look at this. You don't get a male element that does that. Looks into your soul. Rips your soul out of your body. Consumes it. Christmas Paragon pet was good. Nothing to see else than I see. What? What's your name? What's your username? Why does Google allow you to have that long of a username? You have like a sentence in your username. Will the helmet be coming back? The helmet that I have? No, it's a rare. It's a limited quantity shop rare. Free genders change with Scarlet Sorceress. Yeah, very true, very true. Ginger or strawberry blonde? Isn't that basically the same thing? As far as hair color goes? I see no difference. I mean, I guess the strawberry blonde's a little lighter. I've never even heard anyone use strawberry blonde as a hair color description before. It's free. Non-mem class. Farming only. How good is Warrior Rare? Oh, so good. Stuns for days. Yeah, we should get a third gender in AQW. Moglin. No armors would look good on the Moglin gender. They'd all be way too big. IRL basketball vid for 30k special. Still working on that 25k special. TBH. Corey's all about the blondes. I think Kate Upton's the only clickbait thumbnail I've ever used, so. You think 110 diamonds is enough? I don't know. You want to hit your cap for diamonds, and then you'll probably have to hit that cap again once the class comes out. How do you know Dage doesn't try hard? Maybe he does, but he does it on a different account, and you don't know. A lot of video game artists do. Little known fact there. Glacial Berserker Thoughts. Good class. Worth farming for if you want it. Oh, what'd you ban that guy? Just insta-banned. Oh shit, I unblocked him. I don't know why I unblocked him. Let me block him again. I just wanted to read his message. Why can't I read the message? View deleted message. Oh, you don't need to ban him for that. Just time him out. Let's unblock that guy. Oh, done quest. What kind of navels do you like? I really like the Paragon naval I have. I think my favorite naval ever was Blazing out of all of them. Shards, not bad. Blazing was my favorite. If I could have any naval that was ever made, it would be Blazing. Fan. Put in a word for a rainbow naval. I've been campaigning for the Color Custom Naval Commander. CCNC for short, for a long time. Dude, my life is a time. 5 minutes, you live your life 5 minutes at a time. Favorite Overwatch character? I think I have a favorite. I like them all. McCree, maybe? Sombra is pretty cool. I think my favorite character in Overwatch to play at the moment is, what's his name? Roadhog. But they're gonna nerf him, so feels bad. What kind of water do you drink? The best kind. Canadian water. Straight from the tap. Not straight from the tap, we filter it, of course. Don't drink water straight from the tap, that's not very good. Especially if you live in Flint, Michigan. Probably don't want to do that. It's high noon. You know it. See-through water? Yeah, the clear kind of water. Sounds like a Skyrim potion, David. What will be required to get Void? Well, HIGHLORD class. The only two things we know are diamonds and unidentified 13s at the moment. Fiji? No, I've never bought a bottle of water in my life. Have I bought a bottle of water in my life? No. No, I personally have not. No, I personally have not bought a bottle of water in my life, and I don't plan on it. What would the world be like without memes? Kappa. That's a Kappa, right? On YouTube, that's the Kappa. I like how YouTube has a Kappa. Yeah, that's a Kappa. If you type capital K-A-P-P-A, that's the emote. How many diamonds? I don't know how many diamonds we have. 34. I think cap's 200. Is cap 200? You know a lot, but you don't know how to spell a lot, because a lot is 2 words. It's a... Corey, on a computer, right? How do you use emojis? There's like an emoji button on YouTube. You just click that in the bottom left corner under the chat. under where you type chat. Favorite YouTuber? Right now, I don't know who my favorite YouTuber is. Ooh, diamonds. My favorite YouTuber is right now. Let me look. I've been on YouTube since like the site, like, I've been on YouTube for a long time. And I've had my YouTube account, well, not this account, because I've used many different accounts over the years, of course, as most people do on YouTube when they're... I mean, my subscriptions are public. I watch everyone I'm subscribed to. If I'm I don't subscribe to people I don't watch. H3H3 is a really good channel. Their stuff's really good right now. Philip DeFranco. If you want news, he's a very good news channel. I'll probably watch his Angry Joe. Angry Joe does good video game reviews. My favorite Overwatch channel right now is Your Overwatch. It's just the word Your and then Overwatch. That's their channel name. Looking at my subscriptions. PewDiePie. PewDiePie has good stuff. Mr. Casey Neistat. Okay, ETC. ETC show. Best gaming news YouTube channel. Check them out. ETC show. 3 letters. And a bunch of like tech channels. Alliance Tech Tips, Jay's 2 Cents. A bunch of those guys. MXR Mods, Lenny Face. If you search MXR Mods on YouTube, you'll see why I Lenny Faced. You will too if you look at his thumbnails. But his content's actually really good. As much as he clickbaits. Hopefully you guys are looking these up. You should subscribe to every channel I've just said. They're all good channels. Apple or Samsung? I wouldn't buy either. Actually, Samsung, I wouldn't buy a Samsung phone because they're too expensive. But my favorite YouTuber is you. Thank you, Fiesta. Yeah, I wish YouTube would let me have custom emotes. Because I'd have some dank custom emotes. I would steal LOL, Kappa, and PogChamp from Twitch. Just change them slightly. Use them. God dang, Corey, your helmet staring into my soul. That's how it works. That's how my helmet works. Have you seen Vsauce? Yes, I have. I've seen a lot of Vsauce's videos. Vsauce did a collab with iDubbbz. Very good channel. Yes, I do watch Nate Shot. My subscriptions are public. You get all the people I'm subscribed to. I watch their videos, so you can go check out my subscriptions on my channel. It's like somewhere on my channel page you can see all the people I'm subscribed to. Do I need dark crystal shards for anything? Yeah, they'll probably be needed for the new class. So you want to watch Corey plays? Nah, never heard of him. Korea Lightcaster or Legion Warrior? Well, as the country of Korea, I mean, I'm the good Korea. I would go with Lightcaster over Legion Warrior. I would go with Lightcaster over whatever Legion Warrior is. Optic or Phase? Neither. I don't watch either of them. Although I do like Hex from Optic. So I'd probably go with Optic if I had to pick, but like I'm not involved at all with that kind of stuff. I mean, I used to play Call of Duty when Call of Duty was relevant, but I don't anymore, like a lot of people. Do you watch your YouTube video? Of course, I have to edit them and I watch all of them to make sure there's no mistakes or anything in them, although sometimes I miss something. Of course I watch my own videos. 1v1 you on Minecraft? You got a time machine back to like 2010 when Minecraft was popular. Which shop was the super long ice cream helmet in? That's the rare shop for Artix Entertainment's 10th, or AQW's 10th birthday, I think it was. Not 10th, 8th birthday. 10th. Can upload H1Z1 videos. I don't think they would. Maybe on my second channel, but I don't think so, man. Have you ever watched Machinima's Inbox? Maybe. Sounds familiar. Is your favorite YouTuber that plays AQW and streams once and sometimes more than a week? I think I'm the only person that falls in that category, so I'd have to say myself. And Vuk stealing my thumbnail style. I have a little bit of a gripe with him for that. So if you don't know who Vuk is, I guess I'll show you his channel. I mean, I like his channel. I like his vids, but he is kind of stealing my thumbnail style, and I'm not too happy with that. And I got no hate towards Vuk. It's just like he should maybe come up with his own style. Can you? Okay, so check this. So you can see. So here are what his thumbnails look like. Oh look, if we go view all. That's a bad. Can we go by grid, please? And you can see. You can see a point right here, right? There's a point. So right about, I think it was right about here. Oh, you recognize that face right there? Recognize that color on the font? The font, the color, you recognize that? And more recently, these are like directly what my thumbnails look like. I don't know. It's not a big deal, but it kind of salty. I guess I gotta change my thumbnail style, so maybe I make it something harder to copy. Vuk versus Corey. 1v1 me, Vuk. Leave Vuk alone? Just saying. I'm just saying. What jug items do I have? I have 3. I have the Crystal Phoenix Blade, the one Null Gas Sword, and with the orange and yellow outline on it. I forget the name of it. And they're in my bank, I think, but no, they're actually not. I can never remember the name of these weapons. Ungodlies. Any relationship advice, Corey? Oh, I'm your man. Kappa. I don't want to watch a video on stream, especially if it's another AQ creators video, because then you guys won't watch it yourself. That's kind of like reactions channels. That's my issue with reaction channels. I'll watch it though and I'll retweet it if I like it. Choose Corey, still farming? Not anymore. Thank you guys for coming out to the stream today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I did myself. Well, let's not stay in here. People have probably been waiting in my house to be on stream. And it was Xtroid. Some other people. Thank you for coming out to stream. There'll be a news video on Thursday. That's 3 days from now. And a stream on Friday when the class comes out. The No Gath class in the title thumbnail. When that class comes out, we'll do a stream. We might not be able to get it depending on how many items we farm during the week. So expect some more farming streams during this week. And I'll probably farm a little bit off stream too. We'll see. Other than that, I'll see you guys all tomorrow if I upload a video tomorrow, which I hopefully will. And why is your character a girl? Okay, see you guys all in the next one. Have a good night and have a good rest of your week. Peace.